Hey guys, we're often told as children when we see something to speak up, to become a person of bravery and of merit. And yet, what we find when we become adults, that the very people who speak up become snitches or troublemakers, right? It's going to be hard for me to talk about what I'm about to talk about because it still impacts me to this day. Um, I was fired from a job that I actually initially enjoyed. I was extremely excited about. In a lot of ways, you might even say it was a dream job for me. I was working as a writer, I was getting benefits. And I liked the team I was working with, a bunch of very talented, smart, savvy individuals, including the person that headed the group. I don't really have a lot that I'd even want to say negative about a lot of them. But I do have something negative to say about my experience towards the end of everything. I've always been a person who has always believed in justice, I guess. What the right may derisively call just social justice warriors. But these very same people have the benefits they have in life because people were willing to put their lives on the line to make sure that they were treated fairly and equitably in a world that seeks to allow the big dogs, the sociopaths, the psychopaths, the narcissists to come and put a boot on your neck for pennies. It's the people with empathy and care and love who decide that they're going to fight for the common man or just for everyone, common, uncommon, rich, poor. Everyone should have a right to exist in their space and be unbothered, to have what they need. So I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to leave the names out because right now I have a settlement and an NDA that tells me that I can't name names. But I think by the end of this, I think I'm going to fight in court. And this is why I'm making this video. I'm going to fight in court to get that NDA removed. Jessica Denson, honey, thank you. You're the reason why I think I can do this. Thank you, Jessica. I'm going to fight to remove that because I don't believe people who have negative experiences and in companies should not be able to speak about those negative experiences. And as one lawyer told me as I was seeking to uh, get someone to represent me when all this went down, the fact that they were willing to pay me money after a short period of time being there indicates that they know there's something to shut me up about. It's long story short, I started a job at a place, great place. It was an artistic place. And as an artist, it's very difficult to find jobs where you get, benefits, where you get paid well, where you like the environment. And I did. And as a woman of color, I was very excited. This particular company exists in New Hampshire. I and it, initially didn't bother me that the place was largely white. I think like some 75% or 80%. um, but you know, you think with people being a little bit more aware that they're understanding of what it would take to have a diverse workplace, but they don't. They don't understand that with each culture, you're bringing along with it whatever that culture is struggling with. You know, I often say that Black people walk around with the sword of Damocles over our heads. We're constantly afraid that things going to drop. And it comes from always being targeted, always think being thought of as less than. I will admit that I suffer from a lot of self-doubt. And that is because, when the world, the first thing they see is color. They act as if Black people played a race card. But there are so many times I'm just trying to be me, and I had somebody would say something like, "So, what do you think of affirmative action? Or what do you think of this or that?" They're playing the race card when they do that. And in that moment, they let me know that where they see me, how they see me. I'm not just Alicia enjoying a sandwich. I'm Alicia here to represent all the Black people in America. Even though they know that they can't, I would never expect them to represent all the ideas of every white person in America. But that's where we are, you know, in America. Even allies, they don't get it. They don't get what you're struggling with. And my thing is, if you don't understand what you're struggling with, what people are struggling with, how can you direct them? How can you manage them? How can you help them? How can you help them understand how to navigate microaggressions? And believe me, and this is the thing that I saw, okay, there are microaggressions in that company. The problem is when microaggressions aren't directed at you, you don't see them. But the people who've had to deal with those things, they did. And there are people who go, microaggressions don't exist. Until those people ask, does sarcasm exist? Does innuendo exist? Do people always speak in terms of black and white? Do people flirt? Of course we do. Not everything is said in bold color. Some things are subtle. Microaggressions are the same thing. And there was microaggressions aplenty. And the problem with what I would say allies is even worse than overt bigots is they don't think that they suffer from, they don't think they do that. They don't. They don't think they do it. They don't, and when you try to point it out, they get all offended like, because, and then that's when they start telling you what your experiences are, what you should be seeing, what you should be thinking, how you should be feeling. And that's what I experienced. But because I really, really, really want this job, I put my head down until one person became a little bit more overt in what she was doing and saying. Well, more than one person. There were a couple of people who were doing these things. Because what people got to realize when you're working in a company that's 75% white and they're trying to integrate people of color into that company, um, the problem is, how do I say this? They have never been in a situation where they had to deal with someone who may have been aggrieved in that way. And so they're not going to see what you're seeing. I remember trying to bring this up to a couple of people, and they're going, oh, such and such isn't that way. Or, oh, it's not like that. Okay. I've lived a good portion of life on this planet. I know I'm sensitive, but I'm not hypersensitive. And I do know that if someone tries to condescend to you, talk down to you, act like you're stupid, that's a microaggression. One person in particular, and I won't name any names, when I had asked a simple question, not only talked down to me, but was sending me Wikipedias and all this stuff to make their case long after I'd let the whole matter go. And of course, when I got upset because I felt that they were insulting my intelligence, all of a sudden in a passive aggressive way, acting like I didn't do anything wrong. People shouldn't have to put up with stuff like that just to keep a job. But I did to keep my job because I like the job. As time went on, they hired a woman. She was a woman of color. And the unfortunate thing about this, and Robert Bevins of Jennifer Brown Consulting, a DEI equity inclusion firm, confirmed this because he's been doing this for a number of years with Jennifer Brown, that Black people, because they know that there's a scarcity of jobs in these type of situations, they have a tendency to feel like they got to be alpha or the HNIC. And if they see another capable person of color, instead of being supportive, they tend to undercut that person. And there was a person who did that to me. So, and she was so good at it that and this is where all the stuff went down. This person bullied me. They bullied me. I actually tried to say something about it, and they were like, ah. They tried to act like it's just two Black women having a snipe fight, a personality clash, as it was said. This person bullied me. This person bullied me. Let me say that again. This person bullied me. Okay. So when I bring it up, they poo pooed it, which surprised me because I thought this was a company that would actually take these types of things seriously. All right. As time went on, I'm trying to make her feel comfortable. And I will admit to my biggest mistake was being a little bit more forthcoming about my past than I should have. And I can't prove this to be the case, but I believe she used aspects of my past against me. To remedy the situation of what they thought was a personality clash, they decided to allow this woman to address everyone during a morning stand up. To which this person promptly wagged her finger at everyone and basically said, in a nutshell, be glad you got a job, shut the hell up, and do it and quit causing problems. Because, yeah, that's a way to inspire morale. I liked my job, but at that point, I couldn't take it anymore. And I was extremely upset. I will admit to saying some things I probably should not have said. I will admit that. But the one thing I do know about people who are somewhat narcissistic is they end up creating a situation where victims act out and then the victims look like the bad guy. To that point, up until this person joined our team, no one had one negative thing to say about me. No one had we if I were ever to get a hold of discourse, everything was positive. No one would say anything negative. This person showed up and all of a sudden, I'll give you a good example. The big row between me and this person started when I asked for clarity. That's right. I asked for clarity on what people wanted from the group because when we would talk to ourselves, there was always this thing of we don't know what we're doing. They give us a thing, they don't give us all the details. We submit it, they go, oh, we wanted this. So I took the bright idea of being a dumb, you know, and not understanding corporate speak. That, oh, all I'll do is just go ask for clarity. That was the downward slide towards me losing my job because she took it as a personal attack. We had conversations. She yelled. She spoke over me. She belittled other people. I brought it up to management. But at this point in time, I began to look like the troublemaker because I'm the one trying to make sure the needs of people are being addressed. Silly me. One of the people that I was speaking of really worked in HR, the one that belittled me. And it was belittling. It was a microaggression. And the really bad thing about microaggression and passive aggressiveness is that when you react to it, you look like the bad guy because the people, when they're really good at what they're doing and they know what they're doing, they know how to target you in a way. They push your buttons and they know how to target your insecurities. They study you. So that when you do react, you like the bad guy. And I reacted. I reacted to being told to shut the fuck up. I reacted to being told um, or someone putting me down and act like I was stupid. I reacted to all these things because I think, I'm human and I have a right to react to someone being aggressive at me. The way I reacted was to simply respond and say, hey, don't do that. Pretty much. It wasn't me screaming or yelling. It was, you know, don't do that to the person. Now, to people I thought had my back at the job, I was a little bit more forthcoming, so to speak. But what you find and what I found later and I've learned, number one, HR is not your friend. They're not there for the people at the company. They're there for the company. I was told that and I said, I wish I'd known that before I tried to go to HR with this. Um, Also, people at work are not your friends. Okay, I get it. And I wasn't looking for friends. Maybe work colleagues, people that you enjoy being around and you all have a common goal. I thought I had work colleagues. I didn't have that. When people were speaking, no one stood up for me. I happened to mention that one of the people in question had mentioned they had been bullied too. Now, I will caveat this to say that maybe I shouldn't have put that person's name in the mix. But I will also say this, being a person of color and recognizing that as a person of color, people probably would not believe me. I figured that this woman, who was a white woman, would probably get a little bit more credibility that she might be listened to. But I think that she probably became more upset I said something and backed off. Let's also add to the mix that I decided to implement DEI initiatives through Jennifer Brown and Robert Beaven of Jennifer Brown Consulting. And I recall a stand up where I said, anyone who wants to be part of this initiative, please raise your hand and I'll talk to you more about it. No one raised their hand. So, long story short, as a Black woman in a mostly white company, suffering from microaggressions, I tried to report and people poo pooed it. When another Black woman came into the mix, I felt almost like we were pitted against each other. And this person who was way more aggressive and probably a little bit more corporate savvy than me came after me in a way where I ended up losing my job. But guess what? So did she. I was there. I learned maybe 4 to 6 weeks later, she lost her job. So two of the only minorities, or a few minorities in that company were gone because management did not know how to deal with working with minority workers and how to get them to get on the same page and how to talk to people and to understand what was happening in that company, right? I recall the day when I was let go. I've been trying to reach HR. They would not respond to me. When they finally did respond to me, they basically like, yeah, we're letting you go. We're laying people off. We're paying you a severance. But part of the severance in the fine print was if I take that severance, I can't talk about what happened. I can't mention them by name. So I went to talk to lawyers about it. And the long and short of that is, unless I had a video of someone calling me the N word, it was going to be really hard to prove what happened because it took that level to be able to win a case. And lawyers aren't going to take a case they think is great and they can't win. It's got to be a slam dunk. Now I had, screenshots of conversations. I had screenshots of conversations I had with the woman of color. I had screenshots of conversations I had with the paid person in HR. I had screenshots of even talking to some of the people and some of the group chats and stuff and things that were said and how unhappy workers were with this person and how happy they were with me. But it wasn't enough. They had to show intent. Um, and they weren't able to do that. But here's what I want to do. Jessica Denson went after President Trump. She signed an NDA and she wanted to be able to speak. I don't know what I can do legally, but I want the opportunity to speak. And here's why. Not being able to speak out about what happened to me at this company and name them by name has caused tremendous trauma. It was around the same year. I was let go in November 2022. I believe it was 2022. Around November 2023, I started having panic attacks. I was victimized. And from what I understand, now I was just this troublemaker who, was overly sensitive, who didn't take direction. I went from being able to be an asset and be good at my job to being horrible at my job. A job I've had for 15 years. A job that I had with other companies where they loved what I did. I worked for one lady for roughly about 7, 8 years and another company for about 10. And they would still give me glowing praise. But this company, I don't know what I'm doing, I guess. In trying to give any type of helpful anything, met with derision and scorn. So, yeah, and here's a message for you people who think you're an ally. You're not an ally when push comes to shove and you have a chance to make a stand that matters. You don't. I needed you. You weren't there. I think that's what hurts the most. In any case, that's all I want to say. I wanted to tell my story. I feel like it's going to help to an extent. But what's really going to heal is when I can fight to get the name of the people who did what they did to me out there. And that's going to be what I'm going to be fighting for the next couple of years. Thanks, guys, for listening. Talk soon.